Welcome to the Fellowship Podcast, a place where we get to know the people who make up the Baptist Bible Fellowship. In each episode, we sit down with pastors, missionaries, and ministry leaders from across our fellowship to hear their stories, their ministry journey, and a few lessons they've learned along the way. Our goal is simple: to connect leaders, share stories, and strengthen the mission. And now, here's your host, Randy Harp. Let's join the conversation.
Well, welcome to our next episode of the Fellowship Podcast. My name is Randy Harp. I get to serve as your host. And again, the purpose of this Fellowship Podcast is just to get to know the ministry leaders of the Baptist Bible Fellowship, to hear their stories and a little bit of what God is teaching them along the way. So I'm excited to introduce to you one of my very best friends. Keith Buttram serves as pastor of actually my home church now in Springdale, Arkansas. He's one of those friends that you have to stay friends because he knows too much about you that could be dangerous if you were no longer friends. So, hey, Keith, thanks for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So looking forward to this. This should be fun. We'll try to keep it in a kind of our time frame because we could just talk on and on and on. But Keith, take a second and just kind of introduce yourself, share a little bit about your background.
Yeah. My name is Keith Buttram. I pastor here at Temple Baptist Church in Springdale, Arkansas, and I'm actually from Springdale. I was born here, just like you were, and raised here. And so I've lived here most of my life growing up, and then began coming to church here, but not till I was in college. After we graduated high school, met someone. We started coming to church here, and then after a little while, I finally accepted Christ, and so it was exciting to be able to come back to this place, to my home church. And so, yeah, it's a little bit about me.
Share a little bit about that story because you went through that real fast. Share a little bit about your family background as far as religion goes, and how in the parking lot, how you led yourself to Christ.
All right. So, growing up, my family, we were part of the Jehovah's Witnesses. And so, especially when I was really young, we were faithful. We were there every week at the Kingdom Hall and such. And then about when I was around six or so, my parents got divorced, and that kind of complicated that. They're very clear about such things. So my mom was disfellowshipped from that. So we were kind of out of it then because of that. But my mom very much kind of stayed connected to it. And over time we would be in it, be out of it a little bit. But that very much shaped my understanding of who God was, what church was about, everything. Even though, growing up through high school and stuff, I wasn't involved in any church or anything. That really was any thoughts I had about God originated from that, and such. And so, pretty much through high school, I just pretty much just kind of blown all of it off, not really worried about it. While at college at the University of Arkansas, um, a bunch of us friends would hang out in the student center between classes, and some of us during classes, and we would hang out there. And a guy showed up one day that none of us knew, just came, started playing pool with us and visiting a little bit. And one day he just started sharing with me about Jesus. And I thought that was interesting. And so I would talk with him about it. I was always willing to do that. And about the same time this was going on, I started coming to church here at Temple off and on with someone that I worked with. And um, I was coming to church here. Then I wasn't anymore. I wouldn't come very well, but I had one of the young adult leaders here uh, made a conscious effort to constantly call me up and be like, "Hey, we're playing basketball. Hey, we're playing volleyball. Come do this." And I reluctantly kept coming, and kind of through that process, I started, hey, there's something about this, something different. And in the midst of that, my parents had gotten remarried to one another for several years, and at this point were gotten split up again. And just there was a lot of stuff that during that time that was going a little bit crazy, a little bit weird. And and in my life, and in that point, I just kind of one one morning I was driving around, and I ended up just in our parking lot here at the church, just sitting here. And one of the things that kept coming back to me was like, I know that some of the people in this church are dealing with things just like what I'm dealing with. And what is it that's different for them that I don't have? And of course, I'd heard the gospel at that point several times, and honestly, at that point, I was in my head believed that, but I never trusted Jesus to be my savior. And so I realized that's really what was missing. And so I knew what to do. And so that's whenever I asked the Lord to save me, forgive me, and give me eternal life. And things just kind of changed a little bit from there on.
Talk about, and this will be fun to hear because we're going to have a lot of the same people. Talk about some of the early influencers after you started coming to church. Pastor Elmore, I don't want to say who all you're going to say, but who are some of the early influencers? I know we got a mutual friend that's already in heaven, Andy, that's I'm sure you'll talk about, but who are some of those early influencers in your walk with Christ?
Yeah. I would say there's a lot of them that influenced me. Probably one of the ones that did the most at that time, especially was he was the youth pastor here at Temple at the time, Andy Dixon. Not the Andy that you're referring to, but a different one, Andy Dixon, that um even though I was in college, and he made a point to spend time with me and answer questions and talk through things whenever. And he was a good guy, kind of a goofy guy sometimes, but an athlete and just always willing to hang out with us and such. And so and to pour into me a little bit. But at the same time, even though I'd gotten saved, there was a little bit of a, how faithful am I going to be to this, to coming to church and stuff. And one of the things that really helped with that, aside from Keith Todd, one of the guy that was the young adults leader at the time, constantly calling me up and saying, "Hey, you need to be here. Hey, come hang out, come do
Right.
this." Was some of the guys that were in the the young adults, the college class at the time, and that would be you and Andy Tunstall, who is our friend that passed away several years ago, and well, mainly the two of you at that time was starting off, and we just really connected. One of the things I learned that I don't think I'd really grasped yet is that I could be a Christian and still enjoy life and have a good time because we did a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
Just having fun doing stuff that uh was wholesome but just fun. And that was a big part of it. And then of course we started having the Bible study out at Andy's parents' house. And that was made up of us and then a lot of people right around our age, people that we invited to come and be a part of. And it's interesting for me to look now at how many of that group are somewhere serving in ministry
Yeah.
that we connected with. So I would say, of course, there's Andy and you, Randy, and then of course Bobby Sharp, who we're both friends with, that pastors out in McFarland,
Yeah.
California now. Shane Peters, who I've known since we were in seventh grade. We played football together way back when, right? And he's pastoring over in Tulsa at Heatherridge, and um, I think of once I'd surrendered my life to ministry and was at BBC. I was still a fairly young Christian at the time, and I think of Charlie Howard, we spent so much time
Oh,
with, that
yeah.
was just a good friend,
Yeah.
and it was such a good thing to surround myself with people that not only were fun to be around, but we all wanted to help one another walk more closely with Christ and to
Right.
to live for Him. So, and then of course, a little bit later in all in that whole thing was meeting my future wife Jennifer there in Springfield, and she even was a huge impact on me. Although, so there's, and then of course Pastor Elmore. I didn't mention him. You had mentioned him, but just being under a pastor here at Temple that loved us and was willing to invest in us and such and show grace and mercy to some young dumb college kids, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm very thankful for that. So many great memories together. Keith and I were actually roommates together our first year at Baptist Bible College, and thankful we had a great, how should we say, a merciful or forgiving RA in Rick Malugin. So
Yes, yes.
uh, good times there. So we could take a whole series of podcasts just talking about memories from Second Floor Smith, right?
Second to none.
Yeah. Okay, so after you've finished up at BBC, talk about kind of your ministry journey. Where all have you served in ministry? Share kind of that process.
Sure. Well, let's see. I The first place I served was at Flat Creek Baptist Church. It's a little church outside of Branson down in Crane, Missouri. And that was with Pastor Keith Bassam. And I had actually started going to church there along with Shane Peters, who was on staff there. And then once Shane graduated, he actually came here to Temple to serve as the youth pastor. And Keith asked me if I would come on and be the youth pastor associate there. And so we um, my wife, well, I wasn't married yet. It was probably about 6 or 8 months that I'd served there before Jennifer and I got married. And so then she came along with us, and we served there for a little over a year at that time. And then the next place that we served was alongside of you down in Orlando, at Orlando Baptist Church, Pastor Dave Janney.
Yeah.
And Jennifer and I worked with the junior high youth while you were doing the high school. And of course, we also worked in the school. I was the athletic director, and Jennifer was a kindergarten teacher at first, then a middle school teacher a little bit later. And so we served there at Orlando Baptist for 3 years.
Hey,
And
bro,
then
I want to stop you. So you're athletic director. Now that school that you were athletic director, they're producing like NBA talent, right?
they are. I'm sure a
All
lot of it
credited
has
to
to
the
do with
foundation.
the foundation that I helped to lay there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I would love to be able to take credit for that. So yes, they've had a great deal of success.
Yeah.
Um,
Five-star guys, high school players that go off to North Carolina,
yeah.
play there. And
I think got drafted by the Trailblazers, if I remember
right,
right.
right.
So,
Okay, so
uh,
after Orlando Baptist, what next?
my wife and I went across Orlando over to Avalon Church to help out there. It was a church plant. We were there for a year volunteering to do youth there, and we were there for about a year and or so, and then we got a call and asked to come and an interview at a church in Virginia. So we went up there to Battlefield Baptist Church. At the time it was pastored by Carl Skinner, and we served up there for a little while. And then kind of in that whole process, um, it was after that we ended up back here at Temple Baptist Church, and so that was in 2006 that we came here. We've been here ever since.
So talk about your ministry there at Temple. How long have you been the pastor of Temple? And then after you answer that, what is it that you're excited about right now in ministry? So how long? Talk about how long you've been the pastor at Temple and what's going on.
Yeah. Well, I was the youth pastor for 11 years, and then I've been the lead pastor for the last 8.5. And so that's been um a little bit of a transition there, of course, with from being the youth pastor to being the pastor, but it's been really good. And we've had a lot of success. We've got a church that we love, and I'll tell you some of the things that we're excited about. One of the things that we really stress around here, we try to emphasize is is just being a servant of the Lord, being a servant in our church, being a servant to our community.
Hmm.
And we've seen a lot of that. Our church, I wouldn't say that we're the ones that came along and like we threw something new at our church. We kind of had that mindset over the years, but we really have emphasized it. And like we were serving our community just a couple of weeks ago at our Fall Fun Fest on a Sunday afternoon, and our church, we're run around 100 to 110 people on a Sunday. But that Sunday afternoon, we had about 75 of our people that were there to serve and to work alongside of that. And so to kind of see that as part of our culture here, that I'm excited just to see people get involved and serve the Lord, put their talents and gifts to use, and serving our community, letting our community know that we love them and God loves them, and we've got a place for them.
Hey, talk a little bit about what it's like pastoring your home church, coming back home. What are some challenges with that, and what are some of the benefits of pastoring your home church?
Um, well, I think one of the real benefits is that, and I don't know that this is every church, but it's definitely Temple Baptist Church, is that the the people here are very gracious, right? And I was going to need that. Um, right? Just even coming back as the youth pastor, right? Just coming back here with that. They're people that love us. They loved us when we were here as students. They loved us growing up. They loved us coming back and serving here, and that's been great. And um, challenges wise, that I think one of the things is I'm pretty sure that especially some of our more seasoned saints that we have at our church, that I'm in a lot of ways I'm still their tech guy. That's what I mainly do, which is fine. All right, it's a way that I get to serve them and love on them, and they're appreciative of that. But one of the things that was true about our transition here is that when I became the pastor, Pastor Elmore had pastored here for 37 years, and he's stayed on. He's our pastor emeritus, and he's very involved in ministry. He leads that group of older folks. He's involved in so many different things around our church and is extremely supportive. But part of that is that group of those seasoned saints that have been here for so long, they look at Pastor Elmore, and he's Pastor Elmore, right?
Yeah.
And but Pastor Elmore and Miss Lona have been nothing but supportive of me, which has made things very, very smooth and very easy. And along with that, we've got another retired couple that are from ministry that are in our church, Jim and Debbie Goodman, and have come along and have been very supportive and just gotten in and been great at participating. So having those kinds of things have been a huge help to us in ministry here.
What's your connection to the BBFI? And now you serve as the state representative for the Arkansas State Fellowship. Talk for a little bit about what your connection to the BBFI is and why you want to be involved in it.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that a little bit earlier, that uh, when I first started coming to church here, when I first got saved and stuff, I couldn't have told you anything about what the fellowship was. Right. That wasn't necessarily discussed a whole lot as far as, and if it was, maybe it just went right over my head. I'm not sure when I was first coming here, but I remember whenever I first felt that God was calling me into ministry, and I sat down with Pastor Elmore and I talked to him about that, and that's really when I learned about it. When he pointed me towards BBC, now Mission University, right? This is our fellowship school, right? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, and that's the first time I found out that our church was not Southern Baptist, and I didn't know what that meant either. I just knew we were a Baptist church in the South. I didn't know there was anything else, right? And I just didn't know anything about anything. But even though I didn't know all that stuff, one of the things that I really saw here was a love for missions and missionaries, people that came through, and of course that did nothing but build up in me at BBC, and really having an understanding of the history of the Baptist Bible Fellowship and the heritage of that. And so I'm very much a product of that, even though I didn't know that right at the very beginning. But so that's, and then each of the churches that we've worked with have all been connected to the Baptist Bible Fellowship.
So, talk about as the state rep for Arkansas now. What are some of the things that you do in that role as the state rep, and how you serve the fellowship as a whole?
Well, our fellowship of churches is, we're not a huge group of us, but we love getting together and encouraging one another, and that's one of the main things that we do alongside of one another. Just get together and talk through and encourage each other with what's going on in our churches, and then as the state rep, I'm active as at the national level when it comes to being a part of the church planning committee. Been a part of that for the last 7 years, 7.5 years, something like that. And so representing our fellowship, our state, in those manners, and when we come together for the state rep meetings and talk about different things. So just being a part of all that and planning and getting to know, one of the good things is it really does give you a good view of what's going on in the fellowship.
Yeah,
A really good view of that. And then part of my responsibility is to come back and make sure that the other pastors in our fellowship are aware of
yeah.
what's going on, things that they may not have the opportunity to see firsthand.
What's something about our fellowship that's exciting to you right now? What's that you're looking forward to, or optimism for the fellowship?
I really like the kind of the momentum that our fellowship has right now. I think that there really seems to be a good kind of spirit among the pastors where it seems like whenever you're talking with other pastors that are at our meetings or even on our Zoom calls, that everybody is wanting to celebrate each other's successes,
Mm.
right? We want to talk about what God's doing, and when you hear what someone's doing, even though they may not do church exactly like you do church. Man, it's just great to see them reaching people for the Lord and just having success. And I think that that's been one of the big things, and just that momentum, seeing momentum in our church planning, seeing momentum in our missions, and I'm really excited for what hopefully we're going to see here in the near future with our church development. So kind
Yeah.
of all those things and those focuses on those things have been really encouraging to me.
Hey, let's talk about leadership and lessons you've learned a little bit. So you've been in full-time ministry in some capacity for at least the last 25 years, over 8 years now as a senior pastor. If you could go back in time 25 years, or maybe 27, 28, when we were having maybe a little too much fun at BBC, what's a lesson that you would go back and tell yourself back then that you've learned along the way?
Okay. Probably that I need to listen more or listen better,
Hmm.
right? Um to listen to others um and like really listen to what they're saying. Let other people be invested in things. That's another thing. Let other people be invested in what they're doing, even if they're not going to necessarily do it the way that I would do it. Listen to why they want to do it the way they want to do it. What's their point, and just letting people do it. I mean, there's so much more invested in what they're doing if they have some sort of say there. And honestly, I'm. It's hard to admit this in my flesh, but I mean, I know you know it about me, but it's hard for me to admit sometimes that I don't always have the right answer.
What?
I know it. I know it.
What?
I'm confessing that before you and the whole fellowship right now.
This is
And
being
so
recorded. I want to save
I
that
know it.
clip and
I know it.
review it for you
I'm
later.
not gonna let my wife see this, but no, but just acknowledging that, and so I gotta listen, just listen to other people, and hey, you know what? Maybe they got a good idea here.
What's something that this is kind of personal, maybe? What's something that God's teaching you right now?
Well, probably what God is always teaching me, um, it seems anyway, is both patience and grace
Hmm.
for other people, patience that um, you know, things are in His timing, not my timing. Again, a little bit of that you know what, it's okay that someone didn't do this the exact way that I would have done it, or those kind of things. Just being patient
All
and
right, let's
showing.
lighten it up a little bit. If you weren't, well, let me ask this question first. What's something about you that most of the pastors or missionaries, other people in the BBFI, they don't know?
One that uh, I don't know that I seem to go to in this kind of a moment because there's not that much that's that special. But um, whenever I was in high school, I had the opportunity to have a conversation with then Governor Bill Clinton, and managed to annoy him in front of a lot of people.
How
That was
did you
fun.
annoy them?
I just kept asking him questions and wouldn't let him like not answer,
Yeah.
So it was at what's called Boys State was a thing that happened in
Hmm.
the summer back here, I think after your junior year, and you had a chance to talk with the governor, and so I took advantage of that.
Explain a little bit about what the hammer is behind you and these action figures.
All right. Well, let's see. We just had our fall fun fest, which was superhero themed. So I went as Thor. So that's Stormbreaker. And then if I took this home, my son would be playing with it all the time. So I decided to hang it in my office instead. Uh, I was gifted with back over here. You'll see that's Fezzik from The Princess Bride, one of the best movies ever, along with Inigo Montoya and Wesley, and
Yeah.
just things like that. I am very much a child of the 80s and 90s and all the pop culture and stuff. And sometimes that comes out, you know, in
Yeah.
uh in strange ways.
I
But
would say here's one thing about Keith that most people don't know. You don't want to challenge him to an 80s trivia or especially 80s music. Name that tune. Don't play that against Keith. So
I think the main one you didn't want to play against was Andy Tunstall in that.
yeah,
He
yeah,
knew all of that.
he knew all of that. All right, here another kind of fun one. If you weren't in full-time ministry, if you weren't pastoring right now, what in the world would you be doing besides playing professional catcher in the MLB?
Oh, of course, yes. Probably teaching. I
Hmm.
think that's originally what I was going to school for. Was to be a teacher of some sort. Always enjoyed that kind of thing. And at first, I thought about teaching math, but then I got to see just how much math you actually had to take in college to do that. And I thought, no, I don't want to do that. So,
All right, I got some quick hitters for you. So I'm just going to give you a couple options. Tell me which one best fits you. Would you
okay,
rather read a book or watch a movie?
read a book.
Are you early to arrive or are you fashionably late?
Ooh, I would like to be on time, but I'm probably going to be fashionably late.
Yeah. I was going to say, remember how close we are. I'll call you out if you lie on any
Yeah,
of these. So,
yeah, yeah.
would you rather stay up late or get up early?
Stay up late.
Are you a plan everything kind of guy or go with the flow?
I'm gonna go with the flow.
Hamburgers or barbecue?
Barbecue, good barbecue anyway. Yes.
Yeah. What's your favorite barbecue?
My favorite barbecue is Wright's Barbecue here in Northwest Arkansas. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
What style? You like brisket, pulled pork, ribs? What do you got?
Um, Brisket or pulled pork, either
Yeah.
one of those I'm good with.
Yeah. I'm a good burnt end guy.
Yeah,
But I like brisket too. What's a better movie, comedy or drama?
a comedy.
Yeah. For your road trip snacks, are you wanting something salty or sweet?
Um, a little bit of both. I was always salty until you introduced me to those stinking things from Bucky's.
Yeah. I was gonna say when we go together, I gotta stop by Bucky's and get some beaver nuggets for us.
Yes,
So
those are addictive.
unfortunately, we can burn through a bag pretty quick of that.
Yes, yes.
All right, when you're flying, do you want a window seat or an aisle seat?
An aisle seat,
Better vacation, a cruise or an all-inclusive resort?
an all-inclusive resort,
Yeah. Okay, how about kind of the same lines? For vacation, you going to the beach or you going to the mountains?
the mountains.
Okay. You go to
Yeah,
the beach all the time.
don't get me started. Not my choice.
Okay, that's all, Jennifer. Is
I,
that what you're saying?
I'm gonna burn as soon as I get in the sun. So I
All right, college sports or professional sports?
college sports, go Hogs.
Yeah, absolutely. We won't talk about the football team though,
Yeah,
right?
well,
We're I hope probably by the time this is posted, we're in basketball season, so
there we go.
we're gonna be good. I'm calling it now. Whatever this is posted, national champs, right?
That's right.
Arkansas basketball
2 weeks
national
to it.
champs. We're calling it now.
Yep.
Would you rather talk on the phone or text somebody?
Um, Talk on the phone.
You going through a drive-through or are you gonna dine in?
I'll dine in.
You gonna eat out? Or you gonna eat at home?
I would rather do the cooking at home.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Um, mm, Breakfast. I love cooking breakfast. That's my
Cereal
favorite.
or what?
Well, I can do that too, but I like omelets and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you have a Blackstone? I don't know if I asked you that.
I
Do you?
do, yes.
Yeah, cook on that, the griddle.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's nothing better than a good breakfast. The hash browns, eggs, omelets,
Oh yeah, pancakes.
pancakes.
You can do it
Yeah.
all out there.
Yeah. After you get the bacon grease and then you put the pancakes right on top of it.
Yes.
That's the way to go. I might have to do that tonight now.
Yep.
You got to study a couple more. You got to when you study. Do you want to do it in a coffee shop around a lot of people, or in your office where it's nice and quiet?
Um, well, I don't think my office is ever nice and quiet, so I'm gonna go to the coffee shop.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You got to go to the coffee shop to get the quiet place.
Yes.
All right. You got one meal to eat the rest of your life. Are you choosing pizza or tacos?
If I can have different kinds of pizza, it would be pizza.
What's your favorite kind of pizza?
Probably just a supreme
Yeah.
or chicken bacon ranch. I'll eat that too.
Okay. You want a deep dish or the thin crust?
Thin crust.
Yeah.
No toppings that way.
Good. Hey, well, Keith, thanks for taking the time to join us. Any last thoughts you want to share before we get off of here?
You know what? Just that I really appreciate the fellowship and just the other pastors and the way that they want to encourage each of us to really serve the Lord together. And I love how we support missions and I also want to say thank you to you, Randy, and the central office for all that you do and just even if we weren't old friends and stuff, I would still appreciate all that you do. And so thank you.
What do you mean old friends? We're
Well,
not
you're an old
old.
friend. You're definitely older than I am.
Yeah, by yeah, barely.
Yeah,
Couple months.
couple
But
months.
hey, I'll take it. Hey, I appreciate you too, Keith. Thanks for taking the time to be on this call. Thanks for, again, the years, the decades of friendship,
Yes.
all the way back to high school days. So appreciate that. And for everybody listening, make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you listen to this, or on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe, whatever you do, so you can make sure you see when all the new episodes come out. So again, thanks for joining us, and I'll see you next time. God bless.
God bless.